The Kilpatrick corruption case, the trial now in its final days after a 5-month stretch. 7 Action News investigator Heather Catallo has been on this story every step of the way. And Heather, it looks like the jury's going to be getting this case early next week now, right?
That's right. And many of the attorneys are breathing a sigh of relief that it's finally wrapping up. But of course, the trial's not over yet. Today, more defense witnesses took the stand, including the first few for Bobby Ferguson.
More than 5 months filled with drama and more than 80 witnesses later, Judge Nancy Edmonds is telling the jury in the Kilpatrick corruption trial that testimony could finally finish on Wednesday.
I feel like I'm 10 years younger. And, you know, it's great to be able to say that, you know, after 5.5 months, that we're coming to a close.
There is light at the end of the tunnel, so we're just getting ready to do closing arguments and put it in the hands of the jury.
Both sides are preparing their closing arguments for their last-ditch efforts to convince the jury to either convict Kwame Kilpatrick, Bobby Ferguson, and Bernard Kilpatrick, or acquit them. But don't expect either the prosecution or the defense to reveal their strategy for the crucial closings.
Do you think Jim Harbaugh called up his brother and said, by the way, we're going to pass the first 15 plays and run the next 5? I mean, come on.
Today, Ferguson's lead attorney, Gerald Evelyn, called 2 contractors to testify. The first, Theo Simmons, whose brother owns E&T Trucking. Simmons testified that Ferguson helped their company get on their feet, which backs up a defense argument that Ferguson was interested in helping other minority contractors in Detroit. Prosecutors have portrayed Ferguson as a ruthless businessman who put other contractors out of work. Next, Evelyn called former Ferguson Enterprises employee Louis McVeigh as a witness. During testimony earlier in the trial from the owner of A&H Contractors, Thomas Hardiman, the defense had suggested Hardiman's crews messed up a job on the east side, resulting in a massive water main break. McVeigh reinforced that story, telling the jury today that Ferguson Enterprises had fixed that water main. But when Assistant U.S. Attorney Mark Chutko showed McVeigh text messages between Kilpatrick and Ferguson, in which Ferguson seemed to be mocking a former boss and friend of McVeigh's for losing city business, he said if he had known about that, he wouldn't have liked it.
All we're trying to do is just plug some holes and give the jury a different perspective on a few issues that came up during the trial. But we've been poking holes at their case from day one.
There are only a few witnesses left to be called again. The judge anticipates being done with testimony on Wednesday, taking a few days to take care of some motion arguments. Closing arguments right now are scheduled for Monday.
Heather, I have to think that some people are surprised. The prosecution takes 5 months, you know, dozens and dozens of witnesses, and defense some 5 days and they're done.
Well, remember, the defense is under no obligation to call a single witness. They don't have to call anybody, and they really feel like they have put in their case through the cross-examination, as they've been very aggressive with many of the witnesses, so they're not calling very many people.
No, you heard him say there they've been poking holes since the beginning, so obviously they're confident in that. One more very high-profile witness testified today as well.
That's right. Sharon McPhail took the stand. A lot of surprises with her testimony. She had some very interesting things to say, including calling several prosecution witnesses liars. I'll have more on that coming up on Action News at 6.
All right,